Hey everyone, after the exciting pitching session, we have a final session today with Amrit Kumar, who is the co-founder and president for Zilliqa Foundation. He has some really exciting things he wants to share about the DeFi space, and I will have Amrit take over from here. Over to you, Amrit.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Manav, for the introduction. My name is Amrit Kumar. I'm the President and Chief Scientific Officer and also a founder at Zilliqa. As you know, I know that this is a Saturday evening, so I'm sure that the last session of the day, so I'm sure that many of you would like to go back home and probably already at home and would like to go and watch Netflix or whatever. But I would like to take this opportunity to sort of take you through some of the plans that we have together with Blockchain India. Especially around a DeFi studio that we're planning together with Blockchain India. So the plan is that there will be 100 days sort of a training program where for those people who are into blockchain development, you would have an opportunity together with the mentors coming from Blockchain India to take you through the journey of how to develop an application on top of a platform, a blockchain platform, especially decentralized financial applications. And the reason why we're talking about DeFi, decentralized financial application, is because over the last 1 year and a half, the biggest sort of the products or the applications that have seen the most product or the best product market fit are the applications around decentralized finance. So again, it's not just decentralized finance, but it's anything that surrounds it, right? So anything that, for example, connects traditional finance with decentralized finance also sort of falls into that category. So you would have opportunity to actually work on some of your ideas around those domains. For example, traditional finance, DeFi integrations, NFTs, DAOs, social tokens, etc. Across over the next, let's say, 100 days, starting from 21st of February. So I'm really delighted to be partnering with Blockchain India for this initiative with us. Obviously, once the program ends, there will be you will have opportunity to get mentorship together with Zilliqa Foundation as well. So we have a few pipelines set up after you graduate from this training program of 100 days, and then you will have possibility to get funding from Zilliqa Research, and then be able to develop your first application or the next application that you want to build. Now, since it's going to be a lot about DeFi, I thought that maybe it would be a good idea to actually take you through a little bit of an introduction towards what DeFi is and what people are actually building in the DeFi space. So for those who are following some of the recent GameStop and GME drama, there has already been a sort of a tussle between what the traditional finance exists, the Wall Street exists as of today, and what retail people like you and me, stand in that bigger play. And what GameStop basically and that drama basically pulled out was that there is the lack of there's a divide between what some parties in the space, some parties in the traditional finance sector have access to, while others don't. And that transparency actually triggered a lot of things. For example, we saw Robinhood, for example, closing their trading services for certain assets, including GME. And therefore, the idea is to be able to make sure that some of these products and services that exist in the traditional DeFi, traditional financial space, can be translated into a form that is open to everyone, that is borderless, in the sense that you would be able to use those applications, whether you are in India, whether you are in Nigeria or Sudan. It doesn't matter where you are. As long as you have a mobile phone, a smartphone, and an internet connection, you should be able to access those financial services, which is not quite possible with many of the applications and services that exist today. Imagine, for example, when we did during the ICO phase, it was one of the opportunities that allowed people to invest in certain products and services that was very difficult previously. So the vision of DeFi is indeed to sort of create every single financial service and product that you see today in the traditional financial space and replicate them in a more open and borderless fashion in the decentralized landscape. Now, in terms of key features, all DeFi applications more or less share 4 fundamental features. One is that it's borderless, as I mentioned, so you don't need any jurisdiction. There's no jurisdictional requirement on who can participate and use those services. So anyone with internet connection can actually go and use those services. These services are unstoppable, which means that they are not under control of one party. So anyone can go and build applications, anyone can use any of those applications without the fear of being stopped and prevented by anyone from doing so. And the last part is, the last two parts are, one, transparency. So many of the, the GME, I mentioned about the GME earlier, many of the benefits of decentralized finance is around transparency. So anything that happens, anything that the financial product service stands for is actually in code, and that's publicly available on the blockchain. So you'd be able to see what sort of reaction or what sort of situation may arise, and what those situations may potentially lead to, and what sort of access different people and services have in order to access those products and services. So it's very transparent in that sense. And the killer feature, I would say, of decentralized finance, which is very much missing in many of the services today in the traditional financial landscape, is around composability. So you can build a product, you can build an app on top of a platform, and then other people can connect with your app in a sort of a Lego fashion. So you can keep on plugging together with other apps and may potentially make a super app. So all of these DeFi applications are very composable in that sense. And these are sort of key features that really excites and brings new sort of features that people love to see and use. Obviously, as I said earlier, DeFi landscape basically plans to and intends to develop and bring every single financial product and services that you see today. For example, banks, payments, money, mortgage, anything that you see today and use today in the real world, you would like to. The vision is to actually be able to build each of those products, and many of those products actually exist already today in the DeFi landscape. So one of the most interesting part is what I call the stable coins. And it's interesting because if you think about stable coins, the goal of stable coin is to be able to bring and develop an asset whose price is, in terms of fiat, is actually constant, right, or roughly constant. So and many of the initial sort of attempts on stable coins were actually backed by fiat. So if you look at USDT, USDC, and many of the other variants of fiat-backed stablecoins are, they serve the purpose, but they're not super decentralized, because in the end, they're relying on the existing fiat services or the fiat system. While so many people have been thinking about how to sort of bring about a purely decentralized stablecoin that would not rely on any existing financial system as of today. So here is the thought process. Again, I'm not going to go into too many details, but here's a thought process on how potentially you can build a very simple stablecoin using a volatile asset. So I'm taking ZIL, for example. So let's say, for example, you have two users in the system, right? So two agents in the system. So the first agent is a stablecoin user. So he is an agent who holds a certain volatile asset, which is, for example, a crypto asset, but wants insurance that, or some sort of insurance that asset, no matter what happens, he will also always be able to convert that into a fixed amount of fiat or a fixed amount of value. Then on the other hand, you have the second agent that I call speculators, which are agents that hold the volatile asset. Again, in this case, it's Zilliqa tokens. But they are not stablecoin holders. So they're speculating on the fact that, on the possibility that the value of that underlying asset, which is a ZILs here, will hopefully go up. And if it goes up, they can actually make money. Now, in order to build a stablecoin, so the stablecoin user wants a stablecoin, the speculator actually wants, to take the benefit of the underlying volatility. So what they do is they come together and set up a contract where both parties set and send, let's say, 100 ZILs, each valued at $1, so the total of $100. They take 100 ZILs and put that in a contract. So in the contract at t equals to 0, which is at the start of the agreement, the contract will hold 200 ZILs, which amounts to $200, given that the price of ZIL is assumed to be $1. Now, let's say at a time t equals to 1. At times t equals to 1, which is the expiration date of the contract. So at this point of time, the both parties would like to sort of close off the deal, close off the contract. At this point of time, let's assume that the price of the the asset, underlying asset, which is ZIL in this case, goes down. So instead of being $1, now it's like 50 cents. Now, because of the price decrease, the contract updates is the value of the underlying asset that's holding, which is ZILs. Now, that 200 ZILs, previously it was $200. Now it has come to $100. Now, what's going to happen is, because the stablecoin user always wants stable assets, so he doesn't want the volatility to impact his holdings. So what's going to happen in this contract is the contract will send back. So this is the closing time of the contract, right? So at this point of time, the contract will send back the entire 200 ZILs, which now is valued at $100 instead of $200, to the stablecoin issuer. So the stablecoin issuer had come with $100. It's going back with $100, right? So it's stable for him. But on the other hand, speculator will get zero, because now there's no more ZIL left, because all the difference was actually given by a speculator towards stablecoin user. Obviously, if the price had gone the other way around, so if the price had gone up, so if the underlying assets price had gone up, then the speculator will actually make money from this, right? While the stablecoin user will always get $100, right? So this is a very simple contract that sort of simulates and implements a stablecoin. But do note that this contract, or this mechanism, this system, doesn't use any fiat. It only uses fiat just to correlate the price, so that people understand what the price means here, right? So it's like basically the base value for comparison, but otherwise there's no fiat involved. And yet, just by bringing two different agents, which have two different interests and two different goals, you are able to build a stablecoin, right? However, the limitation of this contract is that it expires at a certain time. It's not eternal, right? And this is exactly where you could actually innovate, and some of the ideas came up, where you could actually convert this simple stablecoin contract into a contract that actually has no expiration date. And the way it will work is the following, right? So again, you have the same sort of agents. You have speculators, and you have, on the other hand, these stablecoin users. What speculators will do, they will take their underlying volatile asset, they will deposit in a contract, and they will create debt positions. And what this will do to them is that once they have created this debt position, they're allowed to mint stable coins for free. Okay, so you deposit your collateral, and you're able to mint stable coins, create a stable coins for yourself. And what they will do is that they will take this stable coin, go into the market, and then sell it to potential stablecoin users. Because remember, stablecoin users actually want stablecoins, so there's a market for that. So they will take these stable coins they just minted, they will go to the market, and they'll sell these stable coins for what? For the underlying volatile asset. Now, by doing so, what they essentially did was they created a leveraged position, right? Because they had some collateral logged in their position. And now, by selling the stable coin, they actually got some more leverage. And this is how now you're building a stable coin that has no expiration date. But obviously, if the value of the underlying collateral goes down, so your debt becomes, you won't be able to return that debt, then in that case, your debt becomes, it gets liquidated, and then a certain number of things happen. But in the end, this is how you're building a stable coin without any expiration date, basically building upon what the previous example that I mentioned. A very popular example of a stable coin that has no expiration, that basically implements this idea, is the idea of MakerDAO on Ethereum, which many of you might be familiar with. Now, to give you a sense of, again, this is just one piece, right? The stable coin. And you imagine, once you have a currency which is stable coin, you can build all sorts of things, right? You could build a lending borrowing protocol, you could build insurance, you could build synthetic products, you could build derivative products, and so on. And as a result, what has happened over time is that DeFi has really exploded over the last 1 year or so. As a result, we have around $27 billion worth of assets actually held in all those DeFi products. So it's a space that's growing at a rapid pace, and this is why we would like you to come and engage with Zilliqa and build some of these products that you may want to build on using your expertise. Now, however, DeFi is still in a very early stage. There are still a lot of challenges that we need to solve. One of the main challenges that I feel is about capital inefficiency. So now I was talking about this stable coin, right, where you have to put collaterals, to be able to mint a certain number of stable coins out of that. But the collateral ratio is very high usually. In some cases, it's 1.5x, which means that if for every $1 that you want to mint, one stable coin dollar that you want to mint, you have to put $1.5 worth of collateral in the contract. There are other products where the collateral ratio could be even 5x, which means that for every $1 that you would like to issue, or you have to put 5 times that value into as a collateral. And this is very capital inefficient, right? So, and this is the idea behind what this DeFi 1.0 can turn into DeFi 2.0, where it's all about building, improving the architecture, improving the dApps and products that we have built, making them more and more capital efficient. Well, the question now comes with why build on Zilliqa, right? One of the main reasons is because now that we have seen some of the products actually built. Many of these projects actually have been actually built on Ethereum, and when you see some of those dApps, some of those products, sometimes they become not usable at all. Because if you now go and on Ethereum and try and, let's say, exchange one of their assets on Uniswap for something else, you would end up probably paying around $50 to $60 as gas fees. So, and that's because the underlying platform, which is Ethereum, is not very scalable. It can only process, let's say, 5 to 10 transactions, probably maximum 15 transactions per second. So it's not very scalable. So, and that's the result why you end up paying very high fees, even for very simple trades. The last thing and very important part is that given the fact that there's tens of billions of dollars worth of assets being logged in contracts, you want to make sure that the contracts that are actually holding those assets together are actually safe and secure. And sadly, many of the contracts have actually been hacked in the past, even recently have been hacked, and attackers and hackers have been able to steal or freeze assets in contracts. So it's imperative that you would like to build, you like to write contracts that are sort of safe by design in some sense. And this is what Zilliqa offers you. So Zilliqa offers a scalable platform, and because of that scalability, you will have low transaction fees. So you don't have to worry about changing your logic in a complex way so that the gas fees are low. And in the end, by making your contract so complex that it becomes completely unreadable. So the idea is to make sure that you have a platform that allows you to build your apps without worrying too much about what your users will face in terms of user experience. Just a very quick, I'm not going to go into details, but a very quick idea of what makes Zilliqa scale is the idea of sharding, which is an idea that we published, I think, early 2017. And many other projects are now pursuing this idea of sharding, where basically it consists of dividing your network into smaller components so that each component can process transactions parallel. And these components are actually called shards. So the more shards you have, the more transactions you can process. And this gives sort of linear scalability. In terms of ensuring that your contracts that you're developing are safe and secure, we felt that Solidity, for both good and bad reasons, is not the ideal language to write your contracts, because when Solidity was designed, it was designed for expressiveness. So it was designed to make sure that people could develop any crazy application that they would like to build, but and thereby sort of sacrifice to some extent the safety aspects of it. So we felt that maybe we should twist the angle the other way around and sacrifice a little bit of expressiveness for safety, because we know that, and we have seen that contracts are becoming more and more popular and actually storing a lot more assets than it used to do, let's say even a year ago. And we have to make sure that those contracts remain safe. So safety comes first with Scylla, which is the smart contract language. And to a point even that you could actually even give mathematical guarantees that a contract that you have written actually will not misbehave. So you could say that, okay, I can give you a proof, a mathematical proof that you can verify using your tools, that, for example, the contract will not allow anyone to freeze the assets that are there. And that's very powerful. The other point is that I would like to highlight is that Zilliqa has been growing at a rapid pace. Very recently, we are, I would say, the last two months or so, we have been hitting around 1 million transactions, north of 1 million transactions per month. And that growth is growing. So it's not just that. So the time it takes for the network to process, let's say, 1 million transaction, next month it takes half a month. So the network is actually being used quite rapidly these days because of some of the applications that we have built and some of the applications that the community has built over time on top of Zilliqa. Now, obviously, let's say, for example, through the program that Blockchain India has in place and you will go through, you will certainly come at a point where you would be finishing some projects and you'll be very excited about what happens next. So first, that there is a prize money of $20K for top projects. And after that, let's say, once you are selected by, let's say, Blockchain India, they are follow-up funding that's also possible through some of the venture arm or some of the venture building businesses that we run alongside Zilliqa platform. So to give you a sense of the next level of what can happen, the first part is the live grants. So we have been running this grant program, an ecosystem grant program, where basically we had put aside a $5 million fund to invest and to grant people funding to be able to build applications they would like to do. So through that funding, we have actually run 8 waves of funding. So 8 waves of different fundings have been gone through, and through those 8 fundings, we have granted funds to around 80 projects across infrastructure. So it could be, they vary from wallet providers to explorers to dApps to on-ramp providers. So all sorts of things have been actually funded through that program. So and that is the possibility for you as well. So if you graduate, and if everything looks good on your side, and if Blockchain recommends you, you can actually go and apply for Zilliqa grant program as well, which normally grants a funding from between $10,000 to $15,000 for projects. So it acts like a seed funding for your idea. If you want to go even to the next level, we also have a Zilliqa Accelerator Network, which is a network of business people, is a network of VCs that can mentor you while you build your product and while you build your services that you're planning to build. So it's a network, based in Singapore, outside people, and so it's a network that consists of all people from all sorts of businesses that can potentially help you in mentoring what you plan to build. Beyond that, we are also running a sort of a dedicated venture arm. We are planning to start it very soon, which we call Zilliqa Capital. So it's a venture arm of Zilliqa Research. And the idea is to be able to invest through big tickets into projects, within the Zilliqa ecosystem, but even beyond, around blockchain, or even companies and startups that are actually building something that's nothing to do with blockchains, but they would like to get involved in the blockchain space. And Zilliqa Capital would be able to provide funding in the end as well. The good thing is that Zilliqa Capital, when we started the Zilliqa Capital, our goal was to focus especially into projects that are coming out of ASEAN, Asia, and India, because what we felt that there's some very good projects coming out of India particularly, but it takes quite a while for them to get funding from Silicon Valley folks. And what we felt that maybe there's a need for a local VCs or local partners, funding partners, who could bridge that gap. And this is kind of the role that I would like and we would like to play in your business or in your idea that you plan to build. That's all for now. Thank you very much for your patience and for your indulgence. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Amrit, for such insightful talk. And thank you for supporting DeFi Studios. Any questions that you have for Amrit? Yes, Ahmed has a question. Okay, so Ahmed, I'm bringing you on stage, on screen.
So in Zilliqa, do we have any learning platform where we can learn about the smart contract, how to develop it, and what are the libraries available and everything on it? Like EOS has EOS.io where we can learn about
right.
contract. And so are you planning to develop that kind of thing?
So we do have a developer. Yeah, we do have a developer, platform, let's say portal where you could go and you could look at all the SDKs and libraries that you would like to use, and then we have a dedicated portal where you can actually learn the language if you have to. Okay. So there are all sorts of things, documentations and portals that contain all information that you may need.
See, what I've seen as far, the thing which is lacking onto all other platform is documentation. Okay, so it is for a normal engineer or a non-engineer, non-blockchain guy, it is very difficult to learn it. So if we have something called education platform where we can learn all this thing, it will also help us to grow better. And
yeah.
Thank you, Ahmed. And you can always then be a part of the third cohort also, and you can learn with us, whoever is interested. So that's what it is about. Any other questions that you have for Amrit? Nothing. So I would quickly like to invite Akshay on stage to introduce about DeFi Studios from our end. Akshay? Yes.
Hi, Amrit. It was quite pleasant to see your vision and understand how you look at DeFi, and it's amazing to have you on board with what we are really excited about at Blockchain India. But for everyone, let me just quickly give our two bits, right? So for the last 4 years, we've been in the blockchain space. I think 2016 we saw there was a lot of interest, or at least small ignition points that people wanted to uh, uh, you know get started in the blockchain world. But we saw there was a huge gap in knowledge, and frankly we were one of the few people that wanted to learn from others at that point in time. And that was frankly how we started a working group, which was nothing but the five of us, which are now the co-founders of Blockchain India as a community. And what we realized once we got together was that the learning path just became so much smoother, and it was just uh, you know solving all our doubts and hiccups, getting past them so quickly, right? And we wanted to continue that in the DeFi space. And luckily, with the support of Zilliqa, we are now, treading on that path for all of you, and not just for us. We've been, watching this space, working with some of our mentors and guides from across the valley. It's amazing to have Draper University alongside Zilliqa and Document Studios to support Blockchain India's initiative, right? So just to add on top of that, the winners again will get a chance to go to the Silicon Valley incubator. If you cannot for any reason go there, there's also a virtual program which is not as intensive, but still gets you the $27 million funds access, right? So they're very active in the blockchain and crypto space, and I hope this starts, your global footprint, because in India, it's becoming a little tricky with the current announcement. Again, I would say the recent most announcement wherein they've tabled a bill for banning cryptocurrencies, right? So again, for a global entry with Zilliqa, able to I hope we're able to get you all there, and we're super excited. Mana's going to share a link about how you can talk to all of us, and get started with the next cohort. The admission process is live. We have a bunch of applications, but again, we're very we're very excited to look at each profile and get you get you all an access if possible, right? Though we have some constraints on the number of spots, but just excited for this. And thank you so much, Amrit, for taking out time and definitely supporting us for this.
Well, thank you very much. It's I know I'm Indian, and so I know the kind of potential that India has. The number of developers, the number of engineers that India has. Even if you can tap even 1% or even smaller than that, that can bring thousands of applications that can capture the market. And then the second part is there's a huge market, right?
Mhm.
Beyond the developer crowd, there's an actual market of users. So if you put the right product in front of them, they will use it.
Absolutely.
So I'm really excited about what can come out of it.
Yes, absolutely. Likewise. And I think Manav, anything else you'd like to add? I'm done here from my.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, Amrit, for coming in here and sharing your vision about Zilliqa and supporting DeFi Studios. Everyone, I've shared the link for the registration in the chat. Please, if you are interested, do fill it up, and our team will go through it. And it's lovely to have you all here, and we are all psyched about with the next cohort and to work with Zilliqa. So if you are interested in being a part of it, you can drop me a text also or a message, and I can fill you in with the details, or you can fill the form, and my team will be getting in touch with you. Thank you everyone for all the support, and we will be opening it for networking so we can all talk there. Thank you. Thank you, Amrit.
Thank you very much, Madhav. Thank you very much, Akshay, and everyone who were around to listen. So have a good day.
Thank you.